Hello and welcome back to another episode. This past week, I just watched the air and the entire season of Tales of the Jedi, and I had to record this because it was absolutely 100% amazing. It was some of the best Star Wars content I have seen in a long time. And long time, I mean probably the past 5 years. Rogue One was a good movie. That goes down in the books as good Star Wars content. It's just, a pre before New Hope. But other than that, there really has not been that many good things coming out of Star Wars. The Mandalorian is a great series. I enjoyed The Bad Batch, but it seems that the soul of Star Wars is relying on the animated series. But before we get started, you know the deal. Spoilers will be spread across this episode, so if you do not want to hear spoilers, stop now and come back later. I didn't think I was going to talk about the show. I didn't think I was going to have to record an episode. I honestly didn't think it was going to be that good. I knew it was going to be better than Andor, but it wasn't just better than Andor. It was better than Kenobi, which is not really hard. It was better than Boba Fett, and it was probably better than the second season of The Mandalorian. But maybe. This show was what Star Wars needs to be. Is what Star Wars needs to be going for in the future. It was absolutely just amazing. My only gripe with the show is that it was too small and too short. Each episode is about 15 minutes long, so we're looking at probably an hour and a half runtime through the entire season. The first episode focused on Ahsoka and the birth of Ahsoka and her village realizing that she is going to one day become a Jedi. The second episode focused on Count Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn going to a village, and then the next two episodes after that are focusing on the rise and the kind of fall of Count Dooku, the story of how he was a Jedi Master with Qui-Gon Jinn. The second episode, he goes with Mace Windu on a mission, and you can see how conflicted Dooku is becoming with the Jedi Order, how they run things, how they are more loyal to the Senate and politics than they are with what really matters. The third episode, Dooku is fully on his road to the dark side. He seems to already be working for Darth Sidious, and in the beginning of the fourth episode, he is hiding information of the clones within the Jedi archives and wiping them from the records, which then leads to Attack of the Clones where Obi-Wan can't find them, so that fills in some of the story there. This episode is also taking place during the Phantom Menace, so towards the end of the episode, Qui-Gon Jinn ends up dying, and he is at his last straw with the Jedi Order because the Jedi Order in the Phantom Menace didn't listen to Qui-Gon Jinn. They didn't believe that the Sith Lord had been there. They thought it was impossible. So the fact that Qui-Gon Jinn warned the Jedi Council that there was a Sith Lord out there, which is Darth Maul, and they didn't listen, that was the last straw for Count Dooku. So finally, he flies and he goes to Darth Sidious and he begins to question him in anger and why things had to go so far and why Darth Maul ended up killing Qui-Gon Jinn. Darth Sidious states that he also lost an apprentice. So there's like a you lose one, I lose one kind of thing. So we're even. But Count Dooku is upset. And then Darth Sidious is, maybe you're not loyal to me. I guess maybe you're not on our side. You're not with the dark side. And he goes, I've proven myself countless times. Now, during this, the female version of Yoda, Yaddle, who is a friend of Count Dooku, followed Dooku there and confronts him. They have a battle, and Dooku is proving himself to Sidious now and is fighting Yaddle, and eventually ends up slicing her down and killing her. Like I've said before in the past, this show is an animated show, yet this is filled with such adult content as far as like an adult story. Not in a bad way or a inappropriate way, it's just that it has adult vibes and the adult meaning to them. And it hits deep, and when he kills Yaddle, it's like, oh my gosh, this is the fall of Count Dooku. He killed one of his friends, and this is just kind of like a mirror of Anakin going to the dark side. The fifth and sixth episode have to deal with Ahsoka, and the fifth one is Anakin training Ahsoka on how to protect herself for anything that can happen. Training herself not just to protect herself from droids, but anything, even clone troopers. By doing this, he trained her for anything that can come her way, and inadvertently trained her to survive Order 66. And at the end of episode 5, you see her and Rex walk into the hangar bay with all of the stormtroopers coming after them in Order 66 at the end of season 7 of the Clone Wars. Then the sixth episode, this is post Revenge of the Sith, and she's living undercover and in a village, kind of like how Obi-Wan was living and working with villagers and working with people, and she's just laying low to not get noticed by the Empire. There is a moment where these bales of hay are getting ready to fall on top of one of the villagers. She uses her force to save the villager, and another villager sees this happen, and of course, he's stupid. He contacts the Empire to try to gain favor, and instead of the Empire rewarding him, the entire village gets burnt to a crisp. And an Inquisitor shows up and is getting ready to kill him, and then Ahsoka confronts and says, "I am a Jedi," confronts the Inquisitor. I believe it's the sixth brother, and ends up just taking him out within seconds. No contest. She then reaches out to Bail Organa, who she had spoken to earlier in that episode at the funeral of Padme Amidala, and used the calling device to summon him to the village and to take them to safety. And this is probably where she starts to become Fulcrum, which leads into Star Wars Rebels. I have not been this satisfied with Star Wars, like I said, in years. I give this show 1,000 out of 10. It was so good. It delivered in every single aspect of the show. Even the animation is getting better with their animated series. The music was great. The acting, even though it's animated and its voiceovers, was amazing. You can feel everything just from this animated show. And I need Star Wars like this for me to continue to enjoy Star Wars. The old stuff is always going to be great. The original trilogy, the prequels, even the Clone Wars series, The Mandalorian's really good, Rebels was great, The Bad Batch is good, Solo was good, Rogue One was good. But over the past couple years, Boba Fett, The Kenobi Show, and Andor, they're just huge failures in my opinion. They were entertaining for a moment, but especially Andor, it feels like Star Trek basically. Just a sci-fi show that has nothing to do with what Star Wars is really about. They name dropped Palpatine in there just so they could say a name that is associated with Star Wars. But it has already been revealed that the person who created Andor does not like Star Wars, has never seen Star Wars, but literally they just hired him because he's a big Hollywood name and they're trying to get money. All of this is money grabs. But Dave Filoni, he's a big name in Star Wars and he was a protege of George Lucas. This is the guy who needs to take over Star Wars completely in its entirety. If not, then give him more power to make more things. Let this series be a second series. People on YouTube have been talking about this, and I fully agree. There needs to be a Tales of the Sith where they can explore different avenues with Sith Lords and have a story with Palpatine or Darth Maul or Darth Bane or any of these other Siths. It's just extremely funny that a show that has 6 15-minute episodes is 1,000 times better than a show that has 12 episodes, 45 minutes long. This past Andor episode this past week was an definition of a filler episode. It was terrible. The only thing that benefited out of that episode is that they brought Andy Serkis in there. Who knows? I could be absolutely wrong about Andor, and once the show ends and I do an entire full season binge back-to-back episodes, maybe my opinion might change. But as of right now, I do not like it at all. And Tales of the Jedi is peak Star Wars. I really hope there's more seasons of Tales of the Jedi. I don't know if it was like a test to see how well it was going to do, but something like this needs to be aired, a new season every 6 months. They're short, they're very quick, so having a season every 6 months would be perfect. But I digress, and that is all I have to say on the matter for Tales of the Jedi. I'm probably going to keep watching it over and over again. I've watched it 3 times already, and I just can't get enough of it, and I need more of it. But I thank you for listening to this second episode on Halloween of the Finkle Cast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the next Finkle Cast.